Behind a quiet gate in Kingston, there's a home that doesn't chase attention, much like the man who lives inside it. This is where Jah Cure steps away from the stage, the tours, and the expectations that come with being reggae's most soulful voice. No luxury made to impress, no spotlight built into the walls, just space, privacy, and reflection. Today, we're stepping inside Jah Cure's Kingston home to uncover how his lifestyle mirrors his music, his values, and his journey. But before we walk through that front door, we need to understand the road that shaped his career. Born on October 11, 1978, in Hanover, Jamaica, Jah Cure, born Cicature Alcock, came of age in Kingston, the spiritual and cultural heartbeat of reggae. It was a city that shaped voices, tested character, and demanded authenticity. His stage name, Jah Cure, was given to him by the late reggae artist Captain America, a nod to the healing tone in his voice and the redemptive spirit that would later define his music. But long before the accolades, Jah Cure's early life was marked by turbulence, poor decisions, and hard consequences. His first real breakthrough arrived in 1997 with King in This Jungle, a collaboration with Sizzla, produced under the guidance of Beres Hammond. Hammond would become a mentor and father figure, shaping Cure's sound and discipline. That same year, Jah Cure joined the Harmony House family on tour across Europe and parts of the Caribbean, his first taste of international recognition. It felt like the beginning of a steady rise. Instead, life took a sharp detour. Incarcerated in the late 1990s, Jah Cure's career could have ended before it truly began. Instead, prison became an unlikely incubator for his artistry. While behind bars, he recorded and released multiple albums that resonated deeply with Jamaican audiences. Free Jah Cure, The Truth, 2000, Ghetto Life, 2003, and Freedom Blues, 2005, weren't just music releases. They were emotional dispatches from confinement. Songs like Love Is, Longing For, and True Reflections climbed local charts, turning Jah Cure into a cult figure whose voice carried longing, regret, and hope. 3 days after his release, he dropped True Reflections, A New Beginning, a title that felt less like marketing and more like a personal vow. His first post-release performance at the Reggae Sundance Festival in the Netherlands in 2007 was symbolic. Jah Cure closed the show as the headliner, welcomed back not as a controversy, but as a survivor, signing with Jah Cure Productions and VP Records. Soon after, he re-entered the industry with focus and restraint. The years that followed were defined by steady growth rather than spectacle. The Universal Cure, 2009, marked his official return to global reggae markets, while World Cry, 2013, expanded his reach with collaborations across reggae, dancehall, and hip-hop. In 2015, The Cure debuted at #1 on the Billboard Reggae Albums chart and earned a Grammy nomination, proof that patience and evolution can outlast hype. His 2019 album Royal Soldier repeated the feat, cementing his place as reggae's modern lover's rock voice. And it's that journey, from chaos to control, from noise to nuance, that brings us to Kingston. Because the home Jah Cure lives in today tells the rest of this story without saying a word. House in Kingston, Jamaica. Around mid-2017, Jah Cure quietly pulled back the curtain on a part of his life he rarely puts on display. It wasn't a magazine spread or a guided tour, just a single photograph posted online. The property is estimated at roughly 3,500 square feet, and its presence feels deliberate rather than flashy. Clean architectural lines, balanced proportions, and a sense of privacy define the exterior. This is not a house designed to impress passers-by, it's designed to disappear behind gates and greenery. A private swimming pool anchors the outdoor space, framed by walls and foliage that suggest solitude, not spectacle. In Kingston, where luxury often announces itself loudly, this home whispers instead. Step inside, and the atmosphere reportedly leans toward minimal comfort rather than excess. Wide open living areas allow natural light to move freely through the space, creating an airy, almost meditative feel. Neutral tones dominate: soft whites, warm wood finishes, and understated textures, mirroring the emotional tone of Jah Cure's music. There's no evidence of over-designed interiors or trend-chasing decor. Everything feels intentional, calm, and grounded. The upper level is believed to house the private quarters, bedrooms designed for rest and retreat rather than display. Large windows likely overlook the surrounding neighborhood, offering views of treetops instead of traffic. It's easy to imagine late nights spent writing lyrics in silence, or early mornings by the pool, away from cameras and crowds. The home doesn't feel like a trophy, it feels like a sanctuary. Yet one question continues to linger. Does Jah Cure actually own this Kingston residence, or is it a high-end rental chosen for privacy during a specific chapter of his life? Property records remain unclear, and the artist himself has never confirmed either scenario. Some fans insist this is his permanent base. Others believe he prefers flexibility, moving quietly between spaces as his career and personal life evolve. In many ways, the ambiguity fits him perfectly: present, but never fully revealed. What's certain is this: whether owned or rented, the home reflects who Jah Cure is today. And while the house sets the tone, the next detail reveals how he moves through the world beyond those gates. Because the cars he chooses tell another chapter of the same story. Cars. His car choices are not about shock value or celebrity flexing. They are quiet statements, measured, intentional, and very personal. First is the Mercedes-Benz E-Class Cabriolet, a car built for calm rather than chaos. With a turbocharged four-cylinder engine producing around 255 horsepower, the E-Class is smooth, not aggressive. The soft-top convertible design speaks to comfort and reflection, not speed records. Inside, it's all leather, silence, and control. This is a car made for long evening drives, when music plays low and the road feels private. It fits an artist whose strongest weapon has always been emotion, not noise. Then comes the contrast: the Mercedes-Benz C63S AMG. This is where restraint meets raw power. Under the hood sits a handcrafted 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8, pushing out an impressive 503 horsepower. It can hit 60 miles per hour in under 4 seconds, yet it never feels careless. The design is muscular but clean, aggressive but disciplined. For Jah Cure, this car feels symbolic. Rounding out the collection is the BMW X5, the most practical choice of the three. Powered by a turbocharged inline-six with roughly 335 horsepower, the X5 is built for real life: space, comfort, reliability. It's the kind of vehicle made for balance, touring, family, and movement without drama. Together, these cars reveal more than taste. They reflect a man who values control over excess, substance over spectacle. And that same mindset extends beyond the driveway into how Jah Cure earns, spends, and sustains his career. Income and net worth. Today, his estimated net worth sits at around $3 million, a figure built almost entirely on music. Not endorsements, not flashy business empires, but years of work that survived both success and setback. The foundation of his income comes from music sales and royalties. Over more than 2 decades, Jah Cure has released a steady catalog of albums, including Ghetto Life, Freedom Blues, True Reflections, A New Beginning, The Universal Cure, World Cry, and The Cure, the latter earning a Grammy nomination. Remarkably, some of his most successful songs were recorded and released while he was incarcerated, continuing to chart in Jamaica and overseas. Those recordings still generate long-term royalty income through physical sales, digital downloads, and licensing. live performances and touring remain his strongest financial pillar. Since his release, Jah Cure has toured extensively across Europe, the Caribbean, Africa, and North America. Festival bookings and international concerts bring in consistent revenue, often outperforming record sales in the reggae world. On stage, his voice is the product, and it sells. In the digital era, streaming revenue has become increasingly important. Jah Cure's music racks up hundreds of millions of views on YouTube, alongside strong numbers on Spotify and Apple Music. Based on publicly available estimates, streaming alone may generate $200,000 to $300,000 annually, providing steady income without constant touring. He also benefits from select collaborations and features, working with artists like Rick Ross, Mavado, Junior Reid, Flo Rida, and Felicia. These partnerships expand his reach while adding performance fees and royalty splits, but they remain secondary to his core identity as a solo artist. The money may have come from music, but Jah Cure's life has never been defined by numbers alone. Behind the love songs and chart positions is a man who has guarded his private world carefully, sometimes by choice, sometimes by circumstance. Personal life. In August 2011, Jah Cure married Jamaican television presenter and producer Camila McDonald in a quiet ceremony held in Sandy Bay, Hanover. A year later, on February 20th, 2012, they welcomed their daughter, Kailani Bell, a name meaning beautiful leader from heaven. For a brief moment, his life seemed to mirror the romance in his lyrics: family, stability, and a sense of calm. That chapter, however, did not last. The couple divorced in August 2017, and since then, Jah Cure has kept his personal relationships almost entirely out of public view. His private life has also been shaped by serious legal struggles that continue to define how the world sees him. In November 1998, he was arrested in Montego Bay on charges including gun possession, robbery, and rape. In April 1999, he was convicted and sentenced to 15 years in prison. While incarcerated, he was transferred to the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center, where access to a digital recording studio allowed him to continue making music. Those prison recordings would later become central to his artistic identity. After serving 8 years, he was released on parole on July 28, 2007. More than a decade later, controversy returned. On October 1st, 2021, Jah Cure was arrested in Amsterdam following an altercation with a music event organizer. In March 2022, he was convicted and sentenced to 6 years in prison. After an appeal, the sentence was increased to 9.5 years, a ruling that once again placed his career on pause and cast uncertainty over his future. Despite everything, Jah Cure remains a paradox, an artist whose voice speaks of healing, love, and redemption, while his real life has been marked by isolation, mistakes, and long stretches of silence. It is this contrast between the music and the man that leaves a lasting impression. And as we step away from the details and look at the full picture, one question lingers. What does Jah Cure's journey ultimately say about pain, forgiveness, and the cost of fame? That reflection brings us to the final thoughts. If this journey moved you, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more stories beyond the headlines. And tell us in the comments, would you choose peace over fame?